Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marnice Nicole, and today I am surrounded by art books. Like, today I decided just randomly spur of the moment to share my complete art book collection, and it's a lot of books. I don't even know if my desk can stand up to the weight of this. There are books literally all around me. I put them in categories to make it easier for me to record this, and I'm going to give you a final count of the number of art books that I have at the end. So if you're interested in seeing what art book collections I have, from groups of artists to individual artists, to books on painting techniques, to books about art history, to just plain books about women, because I have a lot of those, and books about black artists and artists of color, because I have a lot of those. This is that full video for you guys to kind of see. Some of these books you may have glanced if you've been keeping up with my channel, as I had haul after haul after haul in 2023. So I think we're going to get started with the books that are actually just big collections of works from multiple artists, because these are the thicker books and they are heaviest, and I want to put them back on the shelves immediately. So let's jump right in. So you guys, this is an awkward corner in the studio, but it made sense because I have big books to share. Starting off with this book right here, The Louvre, all the paintings by Ulrich Lessing and Vincent Pomeradi. I believe that's how you pronounce it. This is the big Paris book. Look, it's bigger than my head. This book is quite the whopper, and this collection is a bunch of the paintings, every painting, every sculpture, and up to date on their collections as of its print date. And this is so big because, as you probably know, the Louvre has lots and lots and lots of paintings. So we have like the master's works, we have descriptions of them. And if you wanted to know anything about the Louvre, this is the book. It gives you all of the knowledge, all of the things. And it's a great way to get introduced to a lot of the more famous paintings and find out about them. It is just such a great catalog. And so I have a lot of books like this. This is by far the biggest. So we're going to put it back in its box, and I'll show you the next one. The rest of this book stack is not as big, but it definitely has some gems in it, so we're going to go through that. First up, we have A Year in Art, a painting a day. This is a calendar, 365 days, and it has literally a painting for every single day, different styles, different masters. It's something you can flip through and just be inspired by. It also has great work in it. This was actually my first book that was this kind of book, an art book about a art collection, or like a collection of artwork. This is the first book, and it just set me on the journey for it. So this is that. We have a recent edition, We Are Here, Visionaries of Color Transforming the Art World. This is a collection of not just artists themselves, but curators and other people a part of the art industry. So I just thought that was fascinating. You don't often hear behind the lens of, you know, just regular people a part of the art thing. So these are gallery directors, and these are, you know, curators and museum directors, all people of color. It gives some background into them, and it's not necessarily showing art, but I still think this is a great read. I flipped through a few of these artists, curators, art folks, and I really like what I read so far. It's definitely an interesting read about their experiences in the art world and their education and their background. Coming from someone who never really thought of art as a viable career, it is amazing to see that actually art is a career. There's so many different ways you can interact with art, and I love this book for that. So there's this. This book may be one of the ones you can't find. This is Great Masters of French Impressionism, introduction by J. Carter Brown, who is a director. And this book is about my favorite art style, Impressionism. I use some of that technique in my own work. I love to just make marks and let your eye form an opinion. It helps with like visualizing yourself connected to the painting. I feel like I love the style, seeing it from other artists. And so I got this for $2 at an art gallery, like community sale for a smaller gallery, like a local one. And you know, artists will bring things in like canvases and frames and old paintings and art supplies, and it'll be like a good way for that gallery to like raise some money, since again it's a small community gallery. We have another book about Black artists and artists of color, Young, Gifted, and Black, a new generation of artists. This is a collection of new contemporary artists, and it shows a lot of great work from artists I would have probably never heard about. Let's see, we have this. Oh, that's pretty. That jumps right off the page. So we have all of these, and it's a nice collection of work. You can get introduced to a lot of artists this way. And so we have that. And then finally in this stack we have Disrupted Realism, Paintings for a Distracted World. This has about 38 artists represented who are all painting and kind of working around this idea of like realism and how to disrupt that. As you can see from the cover image, it's like surrealism and anti-realism, and it's a lot about the art movement, of course, but also how some artists are addressing this new art movement or the disruption of this art movement. It's about a lot of contemporary artists of this time, and it is just a great read so far. I'm only halfway through this book, but I love it. The art is amazing, and I'll show you. Like, look at this piece right here. Oh, it's gorgeous. The play on colors just hinted in certain areas. It really makes this vivacious. And then on the side, you'll get quotes. It's like an interview back and forth discussing how they address their art and the style. And I love it. It is so inspiring. So artists, definitely check this one out. Okay, that was heavy. So I think I'm going to move on to a smaller stack, but just as important. I think I'm going to talk about my collection of art magazines. So here it is. These art magazines, I have quite a few in my opinion, especially because I was only really introduced to art magazines in the last 3 or 4 years. This magazine, Picture, is no longer in production, which is very sad to me. I love this magazine. I have 3, although one is missing. I can't seem to find it. And so it was an Instagram account I came across. It was so fun. It featured different artists, and it always had like this vibrant work, which I just love to read the interviews that were in, the little art news that they included, and just even look at this. It's so interesting, and his work's so different from mine, which is why I love the art magazine scene, especially because these art magazines tend to be a lot more affordable than art books, and they feature so many artists, so you're really getting a lot out of them. But a few more magazines that I have tried out. We have Art Scene. This one I may buy from. Again, they have very vivid art that they feature, and their stories were really good as well. So we have Art Scene magazine. We have Create magazine. This is a good one. This is the back cover. Then we have Beautiful Bazaar, which is interesting because I paid for a year subscription by accident. It was only $60 for 4, which I think is a great deal. They have interesting artists and styles that are featured here. Like one issue, there was like steampunkiness, and they were cool. And then finally, this is New Visionaries. And I'll be honest, I haven't flipped through this one yet. As you can see, I have lots and lots of books. Haven't gotten to this one yet. But from what I've seen, as far as the actual art featured, it's very nice. And the quality for the magazine itself is very okay. I just haven't sat down and read any of the interviews yet. So I will get to that soon. Just really quickly, going to insert this here. I got the Smartest Guide, Essential Art Career Tips for Emerging Artists. They have a great podcast, and they also put out another art book that I have. So actually, let's just hop over to that. So this is that. And then in this stack, we have some specific art women books, which is my thing, guys. I love supporting women empowerment as well as people of color in the arts. So of course I have quite a few books in that kind of range. So I have the Ashley Longshore memoir biography. I'm not sure. I think she wrote this. So yeah, this is a biography, and it's called You Don't Look Fat, You Look Crazy, which there is a thing. I love Ashley's personality, I swear. And it is literally a novel about her life, with her art career, how she got started, lessons learned. That's a good one to read if you are inclined to do so. And it's a great way to hear about the artist herself from her own words, as well as see her art all in one place. So, you know, hint, hint, wink, wink, go check it out. I also got Broad Strokes, moving on. It's 15 women who made art and made history in that order. This one was great because it features a lot of artists I never heard about before, like ever. I really liked how this book was formatted and what was included, and it has a great amount of work from like legacy artists, I like to call them, and the old masters, but also present day artists as well. So this is a nice mix. And then in that same vein, this is the book that was also by a podcaster on Instagram, and it is a big important book now with women. So this is the book where I first got introduced to Martha Rich, who is on page 119. Where is she? And I just immediately vibed with her work. And that is what I mean when I say it's so great to have art books, because you end up being so inspired by the work of artists. So each chapter has like a theme. So this theme is Add a Wink, and it talks about artists, women who specifically did whatever the theme is for their work, and it gives you a project so that you can incorporate and do it in your own painting style. So it's kind of like a manual, but it also highlights the work of the 3 or 4 artists that are in each section who also play in that theme. And I mean, come on, like this is a perfect way to put some action behind art inspiration. So you have this book, again, you have little prompts, you have little history, you have little notes on the actual art, and then you have a project. Like, that's great. Like, and the thing is, you only know what you know, right? So if you are a painter and you paint landscapes, and you don't explore other artists and other work to get art inspiration, or even just other genres, sometimes I'm inspired by just going out to the play. My work right now has definitely been revolving around like theater and opera and like art spaces where entertainment happens. Now, if I was never going out to the opera or the theater or the movies, I wouldn't get that inspiration. So, you know, being able to get a book like this and, you know, dive into so many different artists at once, and then give you that action to take the inspiration here to make it a part of your art, that is so, so vastly important. Get this book. It is really great. And I'm just going to flip to the next section of books, because there is another sequel to this book, and it is in this pile of books right here. So this is my section that are kind of more tutorial, and that they have like how to draws and techniques and painting skills and drawing skills and sketching and doing the faces, that kind of thing. I even have a book about fairies. But one of the books that I have that I want to show you first is this follow-up to the book I just showed you. Nope, that's not it. This follow-up to the book I just showed you. It's a big important artist, a woman manual. So like woman manual. It's kind of cute and cheeky, but basically it takes the prompts and the guides and stuff from the first book and makes it a whole big thing. A big important artist. Are you ready to become one? Like, that's the whole spiel. And so this gives you prompts, this gives you lessons, and this gives you just ways to incorporate art. Ashley Longshore, of course I picked her, I love her. And how to be like that artist or take inspiration from them, and this book is amazing. So I highly recommend. In that same vein, we have You Are an Artist. This is from the Art Assignment, which is a popular YouTube channel, but this book gives you also art lessons. The Art Assignment, if you don't know, is also on PBS, so that's cool, but it gives you ways to become an artist and practice and like learn and do. This is just a fun book, but it's also a daily art habit builder, in my opinion. If you use this every day, you are being creative every day, and it kind of sparks ideas. Like, that's the fun thing about it. It's doodling, 365 days of art, and it is just doodling, but man, is it fun. This is a life drawing course book. I have not gone through it completely, but it definitely gives you a lot of art lessons. And if you really need to work on like life drawing and drawing skills and can't afford like a life drawing class, this is definitely a good recommendation for that. One day I wanted to paint fairies. This is a painting that I did that included the fairies, so it came from inspiration from this book. It is a manual about like fairyland spaces and drawing wings and mushrooms and all of the lore and all the things. So we have that. Heads and Faces. I have never taken really art classes and I suck at figure drawing, but I paint figures. So I got a few books to help me, you know, with classic drawing skills. Do I use them enough? No. Should I? Yes. Would it definitely help my art? Yes. But they're here, and I have used this book more than most. And then a few that I don't use as often, but this is Sketching People, a guide. Have Sketching and Drawing, Acrylic Exploration. I really wanted to get into abstracts, like straight up abstracts, colors and forms and that sort of thing, and I still haven't. I'm playing with like concepts that are abstract, but this is not exactly what I meant when I'm thinking of abstracts. Like, I want to play around with like actual abstraction techniques and see where it brings me in my art journey. I just haven't gotten there yet. Like, I'm not scared of the techniques, but I don't see how I can use them in my work when my work looks like this. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is for exploring at a later time, but this book does give a lot of information about abstract painting in general. Again, techniques and tools and that sort of thing. And then these are two of the first art, like educational books I ever got. The first one was Daily Painting, which is less about actual instructions for what to paint and more about the habit of painting daily and what that does and the creativity and that sort of thing. This is just a very fun book. It has art techniques and like little things like, this is how I learned how to paint stairs way early in life. Very much a very colorful book about application techniques and how you can really like grow your acrylic painting style and how you can make it more vibrant and dynamic. So we have that. This is a workshop book. It is Intuitive Painting Workshop, and this has like a year's worth of painting lessons and things, and it really is like fun. And it's the kind of colorful like projects that I personally like, and so it gives you different techniques to use different tools, how to use them, when to use them, and like little projects throughout, and all about making these like fun intuitive painting type style. A book that I've never used, but I should. It was a gift actually, so sorry Makai if you're watching. But this is a composition book, and I'm not gonna say I never used it, but I never used it as intended, because this is about like how you do good composition and like how you like set up a painting or sketch or what have you, and like different ways to do perspective and like how to like set up a painting so it's like received well by the eye, like those little tips that you just get from art study and technique study. So there's that, and I've never used it that way. I've never used it that way. A lot of times what I do is like open it and like flip through to see what's on a page, and I'm like, oh, I could do that, and then I'll sketch it, or I'll look at something and I'm like, let me get a gut check on if my perspective is right on something I'm painting without actually diving into the thing that I am painting. So that's not helpful at all. I will go through this book one day, but I haven't yet, so there's that. And then finally we have Expressive Figure Drawing, which is a book about, you know, loosening up, essentially, playing with shapes and forms. And I don't know that most of these paintings I could actually even show you, because it's figure drawing. This isn't so bad. You know what I mean? So it's figure drawing, but like figure drawing. And it talks about gesturing and, you know, how you can loosen up, essentially, and then mediums and that sort of thing. So this book I'll just show really quickly because I don't want to lose it in this pile. This is a book from one of my favorite artists. My favorite artist. She uses gouache. Her name is Tara Jane, and it's her like sketchbook book that she showed, and it's just pathways. And let me tell you, I love pathways so much. I'm not a nature girl. Like, I'm not. Like, city all the time. And look at the cover. This is beautiful. She did this with gouache. It's just so saturated and so just nice. And it's such a great book. I'm so glad I was able to grab one because they went so fast. And like, look at these pathways. And like, I would never sit down and paint something like this. So this is literally amazing work to me. I swear, like, this is beautiful, and it's such a departure from my own work, and it makes me love it even more. Like, this inspires the hell out of me. So yes, showing this off. This is a stack of books that I want to say is a collection of work, but it is more like it is on like an educational basis, like the theory of a movement or like a collection of inspiration or things like that. Like, these are different from some of the other books I showed you. So we have Artists on Artists, featuring like 50 artists, I think, in this book, who are sharing about art and what it means to them and their inspiration and their journeys, and just little like messages from these artists. This is inspiring. If you are an artist who love art, get this book. In that same vein, I bought this book recently, and it's Muses, and it's about all of the muses who inspired paintings, are featured in paintings, and the origin stories of them, the relationship to the artist, how it all happened. That is for the nosy artists like me. Like, I'm nosy. Why did this happen? This is that book that tells you. So we have Interaction of Color. This is the 50th anniversary for a book that I is apparently a very big deal. I know absolutely nothing about this book, except that I was looking for books about color palettes and color interaction in general. Like, I was looking for that, and I almost went with the Palatone book, but this one caught my eye, and if it's such a renowned book, it felt like it was going to be a good read. And even though I bought this sight unseen, it does have quite a bit of like colors throughout. Like, this is a color palette I would not necessarily use, and that's what I was looking for, inspiration for new color palettes. So this book I haven't opened yet, but this is a collection of art, African art, I guess. It is the study of the art of Afro-Cobra, and it's about like the people who worked in this movement, painters, photographers. I haven't read this book yet. I got it I think in November, December time, and I want to get to it, but I just haven't opened it yet. I haven't had the time. So this book is about an art collector's collection. Like, he was the designer of clothes at the Wadsworth, I think it was, for a ballet production and the opera. He worked in Paris, and he collected like a lot of things himself, and like, this book shows like all of it. But also, I was grabbed by the cover, like, so sue me, whatever. So we have that, and now finally we have the last stack. I have the art of Ashley Longshore and her art book collection. She actually has one more that I don't own, and I'm sad about it. But this one is called I Do Not Cook, I Do Not Clean, I Do Not Fly Commercial. I feel you. That is the life I want for me. I love Ashley Longshore's big personality. I love her work. And I love that she repaints and plays with concepts that are successful for her. So if she does a Lil Wayne painting, she'll paint it 5 different ways and 5 different color palettes. Here's an example. This painting turned into this painting, turned into this painting, and this painting. And is there more? No. I feel like there's more renditions of this. Is there? Yes. There's more. So, I love that about her, how she replays with concepts. There are some paintings I absolutely love, and I've never repainted them. And I feel like that's a disservice to myself, because maybe a year later, I might take that concept and I might do something amazing with it. You know what I mean? Maybe it works better in a different color tone, and I don't know that yet because I haven't tried it yet. So, like, Ashley Longshore is like my spirit animal. Her and Emily Gilmore from the Gilmore Girls. Yes, I stand by that. So, anyway, this is one of my favorite books. I really, really want to go to New York and go to her art gallery, pop-up shop, what have you. Or I know she has a lot of work on display all over. She is an international art darling. And I knew she was for me when I saw her in Project Runway. And I was like, you're on Project... Oh my God, yes. We are here. We are here, actually. Like, in real life, I feel like we would be great friends. But anyway, moving on. This is her art book. I highly recommend it because her art, she's like the definition of modern pop art right now. Like, look at her work. Look at her work. It's great. So I flip through this all of the time. I love this book. Yes, I do. We have Yayoi Kusama. I'm saying this wrong. This is the red-haired lady with the dots. I knew about her, like, you know how you hear a name and you see her work, you know, just around because she's such a famous artist. But I didn't know about her. Like, I knew she was the dot lady, but like I didn't understand the impact of her work. I didn't understand the impact of her art journey. And this book gives really a breakdown of, one, her art from very different stages of her career. It gives a story about her life. I started reading this. I was like, wow, like you don't know those things unless you really dive in, especially if you're not like actively following her. Like I was familiar with her work, but I just was not actively following her. So I didn't know the details, especially because she's been around for so long. A lot of the work that she created was well before my time. I was a child, I was a baby, or I wasn't even here yet because I am not that old. So this is really, really, really a good statement of her impact and her work. I love this book. She also has a lot of art books. I'm glad I picked up this one because it goes over her career so broadly. But I do want to get one of the more specific books that really like hones in on a specific time frame of her work. And like, I love her paintings. I love big personalities who own it, because if you don't know by now, I'm a big personality and I'm trying my best to own it. I'm trying my best. So this woman inspires me so much. I love this collection and I plan on definitely getting more books about her work. And again, this is the kind of abstraction that in my mind I love, and I love the work of other people. But then I paint things like this and I'm like, I need inspiration to like step outside of my own comfort zone. You know what I mean? Had to get a Picasso. So this goes over Picasso's work again. I'm trying to get into abstraction, but this shows like a lot of his sketches and a lot of his work. This is a book that I did a whole video about because it inspired this painting right here. And so I've gone through this several times now. The color palettes of this man. Oh my God, this man, his art is just, I wish I could have studied under him. The work is so me right now. Like, this man is like my contemporary in thought process and like art styles and like art movements. I love his work. This is the art of Archibald J. Motley Jr. artist I never heard about before, and I absolutely adore his color palettes. Like, I'm telling you, I've never really been a cool tone color palette girl until this last year. Before, I was all reds, 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 neon greens, warm, warm, warm. And now, right now, a lot is coming from the inspiration from this book, but I am cool as a cucumber. I am telling y'all. I am smooth, and it's definitely the environment. We went through a whole pandemic. Obviously, my like little ticks for art things have changed because art is a reflection of the artist and the artist's environment and what they're going through. But man, he came around at the right time because I am inspired. There are so many characters. They each have so many different expressions. There's so much movement that is happening in this piece. I just, and then the tonality of it. This is all muted quinacridone all over this, and yet there's so much vibrant color here. There's so many, like, your eyes has somewhere to lay. I'm raving right now, I'm sorry, but like, even the background characters, they're dancing, they're having fun. There's an exuberance in his paintings and his work that I just like, I hone into it and I connect with it so much. So favorite book right now, hands down, hands down. And now we're gonna move on because I was seriously raving there, but I'm very excitable. Moving on to Kenji Wiley, who is the artist of like the decade right now. He painted the Obama portrait. His portraitures are so vibrant. He is painting Black people in such a rich, vibrant, and like elegant way. Like, this cover painting is great, but look how he paints men. Men don't get painted a lot. Like, in my opinion, women are like always the inspiration, so female portraits are like always the thing, but the way, there is such grace and assertiveness and like power behind this portrait. Like, look at this. Look at this. Makes me want to go out and ride a horse. This is so extravagant and elegant and like powerful, because I never saw paintings like this of Black people when I was growing up. Never. I went to museums all the time. We were really artsy kids. I was in a band and art club, and I never saw work like this. I never did, and I want to. And it makes me feel seen as an artist and an artist of color, because I paint in vibrant colors, and a lot of the times when I first started, I was like, am I doing too much? Like, people don't normally paint like this. Like, not this loud, not this like big, you know what I mean? And I see an artist like this, I'm like, it's okay for me to paint like how I'm painting. You know what I mean? I totally respect this man's work, and I'm so glad that it's getting the diamonds that it deserves. This man is a great artist. Yeah. And with that being said, of course I got the Obama portraits, because look at our president. Look at Michelle. Ooh. I really like that there's a book specifically about the making of these portraits, because one, these are like official presidential portraits. And look how they look. You don't normally see this for like heads of states, their portraits to be this colorful. But this is exactly what I was just talking about. And I'm not going to get back into it. But this right here, I absolutely love this for all of the reasons I just said. So I haven't read this book yet. This one I haven't read yet, but I will one day. I just haven't sat down to it, but I think I really appreciate learning an artist's process. And I know this book is more than just about the process. It's about the campaign, I think, and a little bit about Mr. Wiley. Respect on his name. But Mr. Wiley and his art style and stuff. So I'm going to read through this. I just haven't yet. I have the Bisa Butler portrait. And this book is about all of the portraits she does. If you don't know, this is not a painting. This is done with quilts and quilting. And I find that amazing. My sister sews. I don't have the eyesight or the patience for sewing. And the fact that this, like when I first saw Bisa's work, I thought it was a painting. It is quilting. It is fabric, and it is patterns, and it is so sophisticated and elegant. And I swear to you, seeing this work, you think it is a painting. And the fact that it's not is amazing. Like, it is absolutely amazing. So this is an artist. She is alive. You can get her work, go see her work, see her gallery. You know, she's a living, working artist. And she just deserves all her flowers because this work is amazing. And she really does a lot of scenes. Like, look at this. I am one who absolutely loves color. I think we know this about me by now. And I love this so much. The work on this, the definition, and even the way she's sewing, it gives such depth to the face. If you can see like the lining and the stitches in the face, it helps give it a dimension. And like, it's just beautiful. Oh my god, just this book, and specifically it gives like a background into like her painting styles and her famous pieces. And come on, man, she paints a lot, well, quotes a lot of art around children, and I think that is great. And like, I'm about to be an aunt for the first time, and I can't wait to bring my little niece to see art like this. I just can't. So anyway, we have that. And finally, we have the two newest books that I have received. The first is this book right here. This is the Over the Line, The Art and Life of Jacob Lawrence, who is an artist that I came across when I was searching Black artists, and I didn't know anything about him, and so I looked him up. And I was like, oh my gosh, this work, again, is colorful. I love color. And so this is a newer book. I just got it. But his color palettes, man, look at this color palette right here. That is something I've never thought or seen before. That green, just supposed of like all of the other patterns, the blue, the yellows. This is just lovely to me. It's just really lovely to me. So this is something I can't wait to dive into. Here's another one. And the last and final book, thank you, is Sergeant in Spain. And just look. Like, there's a reason why this man is considered a master. And so I got this book because, one, I want to do more master studies, and also I just want to see and learn more about his art that he has, and just I want to learn his art history that I'm very much excited to get into. So this was the last book. Okay, guys, so we are finished, and I just counted it up, and I have a total of 41 art books. That is collected over the span of 7 years, and it's a lot. It's a mix of everything, but I think that's great. There are books for me to get actual techniques from. There are tons of books for me to learn from as far as art movements and history and backgrounds. And then there are all the books for art inspiration, for art careers, for art curators. Like, I kind of have something that touches literally everything, but I'm literally always looking for more art books. I probably have about 3 books sitting in my Amazon cart right now that I want to get as the next kind of treat to myself, because like, I can always tell myself that I am worth it. This art book like situation is intense. You do not need all of these books, but if you have them, you're probably having a great time. So anyway, that was my full art book collection. I hope you like it, because this has been a whopper of a video to film. But my name is Marnice Nicole. I'm an acrylic painter, and now I am out. Bye.